All right, good afternoon. Thanks for coming. I know it was short notice. So I'm Lieutenant Colonel Chris Brodigam. I'm the PAO for 1st Cav Division. And so speaking today, we're going to have Major General Jeffrey Broadwater. He's the 1st Cavalry Division Commanding General. And his name is spelled Jefffery. Broadwater, Brodwater. We will also have, and the second speaker will be Lieutenant Colonel Justin Redfern. Justin spelled Justin. Redfern spelled Redfern. And he is the battalion commander for the 553rd Combat Sustainment Support Battalion. We will also have Special Agent Damon Phelps speaking as well. And his name is spelled Damon. Phelps spelled Phelps. And so also in attendance but not providing opening comments is going to be Colonel Patrick Disney. He is the brigade commander for the 1st Cavalry Division Sustainment Brigade. And his name is spelled Patrick. Disney spelled Disney. No relation. So just a couple of ground rules. Please hold your questions until after Agent Phelps completes his remarks. When the floors open up, I'll call on you. By the way, we know and we don't have you guys trying to yell over each other. We're asking limit to one question and one follow-up. Again, to the speaker and identify who you're going to ask the question because we'll have some multiple folks up here available to answer questions. And so finally, we're here to discuss the issue and the situation surrounding Sergeant Elder Fernandes. We ask that you keep all your questions in line with that topic. This conference, many other things and larger Fort Hood issues, so just want to keep it to the focus where you do have some follow-ups that you weren't able to get in after, and we will address those and try and answer those as promptly as possible. And anything that once we open this up, it's all going to be on the record, and you can attribute it, obviously, directly to who's speaking. So, any questions on the ground rules? Or okay, they will be out momentarily.
Everybody else, your cell phones are vibrating. None of them are on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all very much for being here today and giving us the opportunity for us to express our most heartfelt sympathy to Sergeant Elder Fernandez' family, his friends, and his teammates here in 1st Cav Division. We greatly appreciate the teamwork within the 1st Cav, within the soldiers across Fort Hood, the community leaders, the Killeen Police Department, the Temple Police Department, CID, and all the other community agencies that helped us with this search. We were truly hoping for a different result in reuniting Sergeant Fernandes with his family and the teammates that miss him dearly.
Good afternoon. My name is Justin Redfern. I'm the battalion commander of the 553 Combat Sustainment. family, and the 553 family is grieving with Sergeant Elder Fernandez' family. We have partnered with them almost from the very beginning. We share a great deal of grief across the formation as we expended a lot of resources searching for Elder. And at this time, we're thankful for those of us who were able to continue the search until it was terminated yesterday. At this time, we extend our deepest sympathies to Eugenio and Alina Fernandez, his father and mother, his aunt Isabel, and brother Elton. And as General Broadwater mentioned, we hope for a different result. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Special Agent Damon Phelps with the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Command. We're deeply saddened to be here today. As you all know, this is an ongoing death investigation concerning the deceased individual located in the Temple Police Department's jurisdiction. The investigation is being led by the Temple Police Department, so I'll be very limited on what I can share. As the Temple Police Department released last night, early indications are the person found yesterday could be Sergeant Fernandez, but positive identification has not been made at this point. So I'll refrain from getting into further details until the identification is made. From my understanding, an autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow, and we should have a forensic ID later tomorrow. But again, the Temple Police Department is the lead agency. I can tell you we're working closely with the detectives from the Temple Police Department as well as the Killeen Police Department, where Sergeant Fernandez was last seen, to determine exactly what happened to the soldier. Identification. Thank you.
You are up first, please.
My question is, this isn't the first time we've seen this, and he reported sexual harassment beforehand, and he switched units, and the mother has told me that she felt in the dark about the whole thing. Any comments on that? Why was she left in the dark throughout the entire investigation?
Paige, thank you for your question. I'd like to describe to you kind of what a unit is like, right? It's an environment where when things happen, they happen to not just one person in the organization, it happens across the organization. And so respecting the privacy of every member, whether they're a subject, a victim, or a close friend or teammate of the subject or victim, becomes the number one priority for the organization. What that does is it creates an environment where the chain of command can be trusted with the outcome, and it offers an opportunity for the victim to get the help that they need. And so, as you mentioned, we moved units in order to meet those needs. And so, I guess to answer your question as closely as possible, it's to develop an environment where people can come forward with issues. Those issues can be squared away, and they aren't necessarily individual instances in an organization. They're actually a thing that many people in the organization react to.
Just to follow up, the mom, that's been the number one concern, was her just feeling left in the dark and not really getting anywhere with anybody regarding the sexual harassment and regarding the change of unit. What can be done about that? What is said about that?
From a unit perspective, we take very seriously the obligation to care for our America's sons and daughters. But they come to us as adults. They have their own privacy, and we have a responsibility to protect their privacy. And so that's the answer to that. Yeah. Yes.
Next up, KDH, Killeen Daily Herald.
So I'm Thad Ullman with the Killeen Daily Herald. So the family's attorney, Natalie, has a reported signed document where Sergeant Fernandez was supposed to be in the custody of his, or basically being watched by his chain of command. And we were just curious, and she also said that protocols were breached, so we're curious on.
I would have to see the document in order to very confirm or deny specifically of what. For Sergeant Fernandez and the outreach and the care. We wanted him back. There are specific procedures that we have to ensure that care whatever the individual is in a hospital or where for. Those protocols that we've seen right now, they were transitioned properly to the best of our knowledge that we can see right now between the hospital to the organization in here. But we will have other investigations that are going on to continue to make sure that those procedures were in place and that we have all the facts to the case.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Box 44. Let's go to Kevin Green, box 44. According to Attorney Natty Kawam, this is soldier number 13. And what can you guys say to the public? Can you say to folks to ensure that this doesn't happen again? And their safety here on board Hood.
We're concerned for every soldier. That's the bottom line. We are a team, and we want to be the best team that we possibly can be, regardless of where we are, and ready to go at a moment's call. And so each one is individual, and I can't speak on behalf of all the instances that you bring up here, just because they're not involved in with different units. They're not all this unit that's right here. But I can tell you that it hurts. I mean, you have a teammate that is lost, that has friends, that has shared the same experiences and the same sacrifices that you have, and that we as an organization strive our best each and every day to make sure that we're taking care of being the best leaders that we possibly can for our soldiers.
And a follow-up, was there anything done differently with the knowledge of other soldiers when you guys got knowledge that Sergeant Fernandez was having issues with sexual misconduct? Was anything done differently because of that knowledge?
I'll let CID kind of talk a little bit about that. Look, we take every sexual assault seriously. I mean, they are not investigated by us. They are investigated by an outside organization, the CID, in order to do that. And then once those facts are brought out, then we deal with each and every one of those occurred accordingly, so that justice is served. I can have CID kind of speak on that one, but yes, things were done differently in Sergeant Fernandez's case, and I can let the chain of command talk about that, just because there were other instances that the chain of command, we were concerned about Sergeant Fernandez and his well-being, and those factors and the involvement of the chain of command led to this constant search that we went out to the social media, that we went out to reach the community to make sure that Sergeant Fernandez that we could get him back as safely as possible. Cool. You want to talk about that? Yes, sir.
Do have a small prepared statement concerning the sexual assault allegation concerning Sergeant Fernandez. I can tell you that Sergeant Fernandez did report that he was sexually assaulted. When somebody allegedly grabbed his buttocks, CID special agents fully investigated these allegations. Our investigation has been completed and is with the command and their legal team for further action if warranted. I can also share that the subject of the investigation took and passed a polygraph examination, and we found no witnesses that could corroborate Sergeant Fernandez's allegations. There was a thorough legal review, and the allegations were unsubstantiated. Thank you.
You want to talk about the other? So I'll give you a follow-up in just a minute, but I did want to talk about the other concerns we had.
Kevin, I think your question was there Kindle? I'm sorry. Absolutely. Thank you for correcting me. I think what you're asking me is, were there indications that Sergeant Fernandez was struggling, right? I think that's really the question. And I can tell you from about mid-March, we noticed a change in his behavior. And the change in behavior preceded the unwanted touching. It preceded some of the other indicators that we saw. And what I'll tell you is the chain of command was very much invested in this trooper. He was a leader in the formation. He was the CBRN expert, right, the 74 Delta in the organization, and he was the guidon bearer, right? It was a person that we felt was exemplary. And as the behavior changed, the chain of command became very aware of his change in behavior. As the days went on, the circumstances about Elder, he re-enlisted to stay in the Army, and that was right around the same time his behavior began to change. And in April, he moved off the installation, as he absolutely has a right to do. And his behavior continued to spiral downwardly, unfortunately. From approximately the 10th, it was the first day we found him unable to be, the 10th of August, the first time we ever found him unable to be raised, essentially on the net via telephone or any other circumstance. And so at that point in time, we notified the family, and from that point on the 10th of August, all the way through the 19th in August, we were in telephone contact with the family. The 19th, we actually met the family upon their arrival here. And so from the very beginning, it's been recognized circumstance for Sergeant Fernandes. Does that answer your question?
Can you repeat what you said about the 10th? What happened with him on the 10th?
So on the, ma'am, on the 10th, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Karima Hernandez from University.
Okay.
I just didn't get the report.
I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. So on the 10th, we identified him as failure to report as the official terminology, but he didn't come to work and he was unable to be raised on the telephone, which is unusual for Elder. And so we reached out to his family and asked him if they had heard from Elder. And so they were able to confirm contact with him. And then subsequent to that, we were able to gain contact with Elder again, which was a positive outcome.
Do you suspect that failure to report had to do with the sexual misconduct, or was that?
Sir, at this time, I don't see any connection. But this is something that ongoing investigation will determine, I think, as we move forward. But I do not perceive a connection. No, sir. So.
KCEN. Hi, I'm Andrew Moore with KCEN Channel 6 News. The first of my two questions today. There was an allegation that it was Fernandez sergeant that he made the report of sexual assault on. Can you confirm that it was Fernandez's sergeant that was investigated for the sexual assault?
I think, as we said at the beginning, we've been completely honest with you about the results of what we've seen on the investigation right now, and it's not fair to anybody else that's involved in that case. So we have to respect their privacy on that.
Okay. My other question: on the 17th, the family tells us that Fernandez was taken by a staff sergeant from the Darnell Medical Center to a home in Killeen where he was supposed to be handed off. And they say that he never got to that residence, or if he did get to the residence, he was never taken to the door and delivered safely to the next person who was supposed to take care of him. Why did the staff sergeant who took him to that residence in Killeen not deliver him safely to the door to the other soldier that was supposed to take care of him?
Sir, Colonel Disney, I'm the brigade commander for Sergeant Fernandez. He was taken to the residence. He was dropped off at that residence, and he was asked to be dropped off at that residence. He was taken there, and he did not fall all the way to the door. That is a correct statement. He was smoking a cigarette, and the NCO then left that residence. But that was the residence he was asked to be taken to.
So you didn't make sure that he got handed off to another person?
He was dropped off at that residence, sir, where he was asked to be taken to.
did you know that he did not live at the residence?
He was taken to the residence that he was asked to be taken to. That was at his address by his platoon sergeant.
Did he ask to be there?
Yes, he did. He asked to be taken to that residence, that address.
Okay.
In addition,
Actually, he had already asked my question. So how long before he got dropped off at the house was he in the hospital or in the medical center? And what was the state when he got dropped off? What was his mental state?
You want to talk to?
I can. So, ma'am, he received medical care from the 11th through the 17th. Cleared all protocols as necessary. Was deemed fit to maintain a healthy and genuinely good well-being. So as an adult and a sergeant in the United States Army, he requested to be dropped off at his house, which he left on the 30th of July and returned after a short stint in the field. And so the question I think you're asking is that answered?
Yeah, you answered.
Okay.
So my follow-up is, the family claims they didn't know anything about the sexual assault till they got here. What was the explanation given to them as far as his mental state? Why was he even in the hospital or receiving care if he had no knowledge of sexual assault?
So two things on that. The family members were well aware of his hospital stay. That's the first thing. They were when they were contacted on the 10th. They were also contacted by Sergeant Fernandes subsequent to that, while he was in the care there. So those two facts being what they are, we also believe that the circumstances were unrelated. So I don't think that they were because of the same issue, ma'am.
KWTX?
Hi, I'm Megan with KWTX. Was Sergeant Fernandes aware of the outcome of the sexual harassment investigation?
So in any sexual assault investigation, we routinely brief the victims during the course of the investigation and the outcome of the investigation. So yes.
And what I can tell you from the chain of command perspective, our SHARC rep was in constant dialogue with Sergeant Fernandes through the whole process.
Okay. Can you tell me when that investigation ended?
I can tell you it was initiated in May of this year, and it was closed fairly recently.
Okay. I have one more, if that's okay. There's I believe you all found his vehicle on post. So I think there's a little bit of confusion about why he was given a ride to a residence in Killeen and then his car was on post. Can you address that?
Yeah. Megan, thank you for your question. The vehicle that was left at the motor pool while we went to the field, which is pretty customary, had dead batteries upon his return. And so because it was unable to be started, he was dropped off by his next level supervisor, which is something that, is pretty routine. Yes, ma'am.
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we truly thank you for giving us the opportunity for us to express our sympathy to the Fernandes family. And as the chain of command said here, we have greatly appreciated their interaction and their support in helping us, solve and look for Sergeant Fernandes, as he truly is a valued member of our team. Thank you very much for being here today.